Start the meeting, we'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next up, we're gonna give some recognition to the Winter Scholar athletes.
We have two recognitions tonight. We're gonna start with Winter Scholar athletes. Thank you for being here, those of you who are. We did honor the rest of the scholar athletes in the winter season at a previous board meeting, but our track team was actually competing in the meeting. So we wanted to make sure that they got their recognition as well. So at the end of each sports season, New York State Public High School Athletic Association, known as NISPA, honors those teams and individual students that excel in the classroom. These student athletes work very hard and deserve to be recognized for all of their effort, both on and off the field or track. So to receive scholar athlete team recognition, the team's average GPA must be greater than or equal to a 90.00. And for an individual to receive recognition, their individual GPA must be greater than or equal to 90.00. So we have both teams and individuals who are recognized. So both the Millbrook girls varsity winter track and field team and the boys varsity winter track and field team both were recognized as scholar athlete teams. So that's an amazing accomplishment for the teams as a whole. And then there were several individual students who were recognized. I do apologize. Dr. Hartwig, our board president, is actually graduating with his doctoral degree today. So he was not here to sign your certificate. So we will send them over to the high school for you, but we do have them here. So individuals who receive scholar athlete, if you can stand, we can clap for you. Lauren Chu, Adriana Chowdhury. I see Addie Mencia is here. Tina Hurtado. Anna Hurtado. Evelyn Martinez Jimenez. Gracia Rios, Alondra Rios. Congratulations to them. Our boys, Eloy Espinosa Matias. Diego Flores. Nestor Gonzalez Lopez. Dexter Kernan. Maxine Ramos. Diego Santiago Lopez. And Dylan Vasquez. Congratulations to all of our student athletes on not just a fabulous season, but also for everything that you achieve in the classroom. We really do appreciate how positive you are, and it's often recognized that our athletes and our students, when they go there for competitions, not just athletic competitions, but other venues and extracurriculars, we're always told that you're a great sportsman, that you are always kind and respectful to everyone. So we want to just say that we appreciate that the most, first and foremost, having good character and being good citizens, right? So congratulations for all your achievements. And then next on the agenda is more recognition for some of our students who are here. And that is for the Model UN Club. So first I want to recognize Dr. Melissa Betts, who is the advisor. And she's going to give a little introduction into what Model UN is. And then I believe she's going to turn it over to some of her students to talk more about their experiences with Model UN.
Okay, thank you. I wrote a few things down just so I didn't forget, but so forget the phone. But I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to admin, to the board, for inviting us to speak tonight, because the students really do extraordinary things behind the doors of room 200 in the high school, and then out in New York City for 4 days. And I really think it's great to give them the recognition for that, because they really do put hundreds of hours into preparing for this every year. And so I just wanted to kind of recognize their dedication to the book. So we took 20 students to the United Nations Model UN Conference in New York City in March this year. And we take a train down there, like a delegation from the high school, to go represent different committees that are part of the United Nations that are out there in real life, real time, trying to solve big global problems. So I'll let the students speak to a little bit about what they specifically did in their committees, rather than steal their thunder. But it is essentially a mock or model United Nations meeting over the course of 4 days. And when I say day and night, I mean, they really are up early in the morning, researching, debating, getting to know other people in their committees, working together with their partners to sort of really crack some difficult nuts when it comes to like big problems that the globe is facing today. And so we have a couple of students, and I just wanted to say also, we can talk about their awards, but we had kind of a blockbuster year. And I really want to highlight the fact that we had two committees, two teams win top distinction and excellence awards in their committees. That means that our students were in the top 2 or 4 out of 200 or more people in the room. So we had those 2 awards, which is absolutely incredible. And then in addition to that, we had 4 total teams out of 10, which were asked to speak at the closing ceremonies and speak about what happened in their committees in front of, this is not an exaggeration. If you go on the website, you can kind of see like the videos or on their social media and their website, thousands of people. This is not just, a small speaking game. They are, standing up there in front of their peers, in front of advisors, in front of distinguished guests, to speak about their experience, which is a lot of pressure, but they really performed admirably. So I just wanted to kind of recognize just how dedicated and successful the club was this year, and it really is to the credit of the new members, to the veterans, and I also just have to give a quick shout out to the parents and guardians who support the kids through this experience throughout the year, because it's a lift, and we know that. And so I just wanted to kind of put that out there for everybody as well. So I wanted to kind of turn it over. We have a nice kind of range here of students to speak about their experience, about maybe a little bit about what they debated and how they felt it went. So I wanted to introduce first our head delegate this year, Addie Francia. And so she's going to give a quick kind of overview, and then after that, I'd love to hopefully hear from Sophie, who was a ninth grader and a new member this year, who was also asked to speak at the closing ceremonies, which is really, really an accomplishment about what it was like as a new member. And then maybe we could close it out with some brief remarks from Cora, who's our longest running member of 5 years of the club, and also a graduating senior with Addie. Sure, excellent. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name's Adelie Francia. This was my 4th year in Motley Glen. My freshman year was definitely my most nervous because it was a big committee. Like, there's 9,000 other teenagers all trying to debate similar topics. Me and Kimura worked together again for our 3rd year in a row when we got 1st place again. It's a lot of work, a lot of debate. Had like 200, 300 other people in our committee, so it was a lot of people and a lot of minds like just clashing. It was really difficult. It was really nice to like talk to people from around the world, people from other countries, other continents, people that flew there. Just a lot of people. Our topic, we were on WTO, which is World Trade Organization. Kimmy, what was your topic?
It was a very relevant topic, very hot in the media right now. I was promoting free trade and or like something.
This was combating
the rise of protectionism material.
Yeah. And then I was free trade of agriculture, like promoting it. So they're very similar topics, but I don't know, it's just a lot of debate because it's a hot topic and there were so many people. I think that UN was like, it's one of my most favorite experiences because I think it helped with my public speaking. You're talking to people from all over the world. I think it helped debate skills, writing skills, to just write like resolution papers, which are like 4 pages long and with 100 people working on the same Google Doc. Oh, it's rough. Yeah. That's it.
My name is Sophie Stalker. I was the 1st year in Motley Glen. And basically what I did, I was in the FAO, the Food and Agricultural System. And what we did is that we helped create 2 papers on preserving agricultural heritage and building resilient food systems. And I feel like each one of them were very important to the matter. And I got to meet a lot of new people from a lot of different countries and continents. and even different states, and it was very fun to connect with them and make new friends along the way, and yeah.
Awesome. So I guess I'm gonna go now. You know, being in the club for 5 years, you know, eighth grade, I started out as an observer. So I wasn't able to join since high school club. Freshman year, being able to join, and then the next 3 years with Aggie. It was memorable. I think that was especially coming up into high school and becoming a young adult and going into the adult life, that it keeps you up to date and prevalent of real issues. For Addie and I could speak on behalf of myself, I'm not sure about Addie, is that it was really scary, you know, having such a hot topic that's in the media right now, and we're dealing with this as a country, especially like having a very controversial country in the moment, Argentina. You know, it really made sure that I was putting my best foot forward and working with other delegations, even though I may have not liked that delegation. You know, putting your differences aside and work together for the same common issue, to whether it is to solve the rise of protections with tariffs or protecting free trade and agriculture. I think it's truly memorable, and I'm so excited to now pass on the reins to Sophie and the new generation. Awesome.
Questions for Madam?
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
I don't think any of us could do it up here, so I give you a lot. Quite an accomplishment, so congratulations.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
I just, Tamora and Addie have been like long running winners, right, of their committees, and it's absolutely incredible. I just want to give one more shout out to Sophie, who is her first year, and she was asked to speak with her partner Jackie on behalf of their committee, which means the judges or the chair people thought that they had the best working knowledge of what their committee had done for 4 days, and the ability to kind of project that to the audience. So that's like, I'm just really proud of them. I mean, I kept getting like the messages that all these people were being asked to speak. We also had John Jacob and Brody Gusser who were up there speaking, and Cameron LaBelle and Serena Bunga. And it was like Christmas morning every time I was here. I can't believe it, you know, so it's just really, it was really special year. I just thank you to everybody.
It's a lot to be proud of. I'm very proud of you, certainly, and like Mr. Rosenberg had said, it is not easy to speak in front of a group of people, and to hone those skills at such a young age is going to help you tremendously going forward, no matter what you want to do, right? Whether you never have to speak to a crowd, just having those interpersonal skills to be able to communicate for the benefit of employment or problem solving, just life in general, is going to be so important for you. So great things to practice, and congratulations to all of you. And like I said, we will have your certificates. We'll send them over to the high school. But one thing we always like to do, Model UN and the athletes, if you want to just go to the back by the banner, Dr. Watkins is going to take a picture of you in your groups, just so that we can recognize you in our newsletter and whatnot. Carolyn, I just have a question. Did you pay for advisor? Melissa, yeah, just one question. Sorry, I just have, for you, as a fellow model, you myself, it is unbelievable to win 3 years in a row. Congratulations, and to have a first time delegate asked to speak for our committee, that's wonderful. How many total members were in the club this year, and what is your projection as some are graduating for next year to have a projection?
So we took 20 this year, and so I'm trying to kind of keep it at that level. I think it's a good number for what it takes to kind of get there, and to keep, you know, and you need people who are dedicated, right? So everybody who goes has been to, you know, meetings, you know, week in, week out, and done all of the research and all the papers and all of the kind of met all the deadlines and all of that, right? So we have 7 graduating seniors, and we've already had, I would say, close to that, kind of come to the couple pre-meetings. And like after the trip, we had an interest meeting, and we had a senior kind of send off last week. So I think we probably will be in that range again, I would say. I think it just depends on student schedules and what they can commit, you know, because I would say it's the one thing about Model UN is really like being like, you have to be dedicated to go. You don't want to go unprepared, right? Because then you can't be successful, and it's a long 4 days if you you know what I mean, if you can't like kind of really dig in. So we really train them up, you know, and we make sure that the students who are going have kind of put in the work and the time. So
Okay, thank you. Keep up. Good work. Kim.
I'll take track for the first one. It's tiny.
All right, moving on, I'm gonna go to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion? to consent? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Or actually, any questions or comments or anything removed to discuss an executive? All in favor? Any against? All right. Scroll. So president, vice president, I'll do both. The only thing I wanted to just remind everyone is June 12th graduation. So mark your calendars and plan accordingly.
And all of her, gowns are in order. Yep, so we'll be ready in the superintendent's office, for the day of. And so wait for it gets back.
I was waiting. And one hot seat into another. Good night.
The school year is wrapping up at the end of school sports, marking the close of a busy season. Prom was a big success with lots of fun and memorable moments for everyone. Looking ahead, the seniors are excited about the upcoming senior day trip to Lake Compounce, which promises to be a great time to relax and celebrate together. Regents exams are just around the corner, followed by a much anticipated graduation ceremony. It's also a relief and a proud moment as AP season comes to a close, reflecting all the hard work and dedication students have put in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Middle school principal, the one person that could probably love to speak in front of 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Not today, actually. My voice is, been gone for about a week, so I'm gonna try to keep it, short. So I shared with you all, what I'm sure you know, so it was a pretty lengthy, middle school, list of things going on, and, obviously I'm not gonna go through every piece of it. But I think the theme of it is, very much celebratory. Just a lot of, people, individuals, activities, that have been happening at the middle school lately, to celebrate. And I could go through each and every one, but I think, when you come to the middle school, there's so many people and groups that are doing so many great things. All three of our grade levels, 6, 7, and 8, planned for and went on really great, educational trips from Washington DC to the historic Hudson Valley to Vassar College and the little museum there. So big thank you to all the teachers that planned all of those things. We've had some really great individual teachers doing some wonderful things that I wanted to highlight. Some of them are traditions like Miss Anson, getting those 6th graders down to Moronas. We appreciate them having us down there to do math in the real world. Miss Barnes has been doing a lot of work as well, setting a new tradition where our Elm students draw monsters for our middle schoolers, and then our middle schoolers actually build them out of clay. And then we go down and present those monsters to the kids of what they made. And all of that is made possible for things like groups like the PTO, who put on an incredible teachers appreciation lunch, or the MEF, who was part of the team who helped us fund those pottery wheels that allow us to make those clay pots. Just so many things. Our music department, once again, decades strong, being an incredible place to have a musical community. And Miss Fight was honored as well this month. All of this stuff can be found in my newsletter, which will be coming out in June, and it comes to life with some images there. But Miss Fight was recognized as an outstanding educator by the Mid-Hudson School Study Council. Anybody who comes to middle school or her time in Alton Place knows of her efforts as an educator. We had 2 students as well. Sue Serino was a visitor in the last few weeks to recognize 2 students for their extreme kindness. So Juliana Wolinski and Giovanni Gregorinello, we're so proud of them for that, amongst the many kind children and wonderful children that we have here throughout our building. all of that, kind of culminating with, our recognition as a Blue Ribbon School. So it all just goes to, like I said, this community, from the families and the organizations that support our district to the administrative team from central office that do everything to make sure we have what we need to do. But most importantly, the students and the teachers that do it day in, day out. So we are very excited about that recognition. Miss Hernandez and I will actually be presenting. We were just told that we're gonna be one of the key presenters down at, the Blue Ribbons Conference. And essentially, we're gonna be presenting on all the things that we do here, just the nuts and bolts of what we do and how we do it. And they were impressed by it, liked it, and want us to share that with all of those other schools as well. So a lot of really incredible things happening here. And last and definitely not least is all the support you guys give us. So we can't thank you enough, and my voice cannot say anything. So thank you guys. Unless you have any questions, I want to take them.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Superintendent report, Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, so we have quite a few things going on. As our students mentioned, AP exams have wrapped up. There were some students who were taking late AP exams just today. So congratulations to all of those students who put in effort. They are finally finished. As well as AP exams, we also had the Spring Arts Festival celebrating both accomplishments in music as well as in the arts. So congratulations to those students. We have seen them at recent board meetings, some of them. And if you have voted today, you can see lots of artwork on display from some of our artists down in the voting area. Our fifth graders went to Carrie Arboretum and had the opportunity to rotate through 2 stations and learn more about local ecology, which is a really exciting opportunity for them. Alden Place right now is holding their open house this evening. Should have just been coming to the close right at the start of the meeting. And Elm Drive will be holding their open house on Thursday, May 28th. So you're able to go down, visit the buildings, your child's teacher in classroom, and ask any questions or get updates. From this week's department meeting, teachers spent time reviewing data to identify skills that need additional attention than the prior year. And so that information is used as articulation information. So we tell both ascending and receiving grade levels where there are gaps that we have found so that we can make good decisions about instructional practices to make sure that the alignment is there and that students are able to receive direct instruction in any area that we identify. And then we've also developed what are known as gatekeeper skills to ensure that students get everything that they need without falling any further. Elm Drive, I'd like to give a shout out. They had a reunification drill on the 12th. And so we had staff from the high school who went down to support Elm Drive staff. So one of the things that we do for these drills is we really like to make sure that our staff are supporting outside of the building because we never really know, right? If we would need to deploy them in an actual need for unification, if we would need to deploy them to be able to run the exercise in support of that building. We don't necessarily know if that staff would be able to run it. And so we like to make sure that everybody goes. It also keeps people focused on the process and not on their day-to-day, like, oh, I know Miss LaBelle. Yeah, just come in, right? It keeps them focused on checking identification and all the things that we're supposed to do. So we make sure that we do that. We also had some of our neighboring districts, as we always do, make ourselves a lab site for safety for other districts that come and learn along. So we had folks from Marlboro, Wappingers, Clarkstown down in Rockland County, and also Our Lady of Lourdes. We've received several emails applauding not just our preparation, but also the culture and the way in which they were greeted by the staff from both buildings, and having the opportunity to learn. We did a full-scale reunification, but we did it with a small cohort of kids. And so we run through the exercise authentically, but we didn't do the whole building. So you really get to kind of see the process from start to finish, which is really beneficial. It also helps us to work out any like little snags you might have along the way that of course you don't see until you put it into practice. But the reality is we don't want to find that out when we actually need to do this successfully in the moment. So we have all of that and we will continue to do those drills, but I do want to congratulate the staff. One of the things in working closely with PNW BOCES and the Regional Safety Service is that because they push us to always pilot things for them. We also in return ask them to, when it comes to safety and security, we want them to test our systems. And so the first thing they did was Samantha Lynch, building principal, incident commander. They walked in and said, your blood sugar is high. You need to go home. Your backup incident commander is going to be running this drill. So one of the things in safety is we like to train 3 deep for every single position or role, because of course these things will happen when key people are out of the building, right? And so that is, again, testing those systems, making sure that no matter what combination of people are in the building, we can successfully and safely operate any of the drills that we need to do. So congratulations to all of them. I do want to also congratulate Mr. Sight as he moves on to a new chapter. He is heading back to his roots in elementary school leadership and back to the district where he grew up and gained his experience as an educator. So we will miss him for sure, but we are happy for him as well. All of our high school students have received CPR and AED training. 39 students opted to get certified in CPR, so that was an option. We will also have similar training for our middle school students in the week of June 8th. They too will have an option to get certified. It is about exposure. It is about students having the skills. There is no requirement for them to be certified. There would certainly never be a requirement for them to act in an emergency, but it is an extremely important skill to have an awareness of. We have some exciting information about our capital project. Phase 1A of the capital project is ready for bidding. So the bid opening will be on June 10th at 3 p.m. and there will also be a pre-bid walkthrough on May 27th, also at 3 p.m. And phase 2B is with NICEAD. It's currently being reviewed and we're hoping to get that bid sometime towards the end of the summer. We had an interesting contact that was made. Elliot and I, we had to read it very carefully a couple times over. Weren't really sure what we were being asked. So we had a riparian buffer bioacoustic researcher, say that 10 times fast, reach out to us asking if he could further his work with Cornell University on acoustic monitoring for the Trees for Tribs sites. And so we have Trees for Tribs sites down at Alden Place, right? And so what he's going to do, we did approve it. It's basically assessing the ecosystem in areas around our campus. Specifically, they're looking at an area down by Alden Place. So safety being the most important thing to us, we were like, what does this mean? Who is coming here? What are you putting here? How often are you going to be here? And so it's actually very uninvasive. What they do is they come in, they put like a data collection box that's the size of a lunch box. So there will be 2 visits to the campus. One, when they install it, so it will be strapped essentially to a tree or a post in the area. And then it will collect data. And then at some point they will come and retrieve it as well. We did let them know our school times, our hours of operation, and ask that they do these things outside of the school hours. And so they're making an appointment where our staff will support them and go with them for the installation, but it will not be during the school hours. There will be nothing in terms of collection of anything other than the bioacoustic data from that one little area of our land. And so it will be used to research, like I said, the ecosystems right adjacent to the Alden property. So I thought it was very interesting. I learned about a lot about buffer systems that I have had them. So it's interesting, and we will let you know what data they collect should they share it with us. Additionally, I want to thank Jillian Barnes. She was such a good sport. So part of the process of working very closely and being one of the flagship districts for safety is we, like I said, we work with regional safety down through Northern Rochester BOCES. And one of the things that they are doing in addition to the reunification trainings, in addition to us being a lab site, is we've also created a video series. So reunification is one of the components of safety planning that is, it's a really long, drawn out, confusing process until you walk through it and see every aspect of it, and then it kind of makes much more sense. So when they do their training, they will also now have a series of videos that they are able to allow other people to view, to review, to be able to operationalize their plans. So thank you to Jillian who participated in the filming of that. Some of our staff here also played roles as actors and actresses to help that video series get completed. And so that will be available for viewing by other districts in the near future. And I also had a really amazing opportunity to attend an advanced threat assessment expert series where we trained directly with Dewey Cornell. Dr. Cornell is the person who wrote the CSAG, the Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guide, which is what is used by many school districts in the region. I would say in this region, most schools are using that. There are other models, but that seems to be the most popular one. And then also Dr. Melissa Reeves was there. She presented for 2 days and she spoke about the intersection of threat assessment and suicide assessment and all of the markers that we should be looking at when we are assessing any type of threat that is made. And additionally, she also spoke about the implications for students with disabilities when you are conducting a threat assessment, and how that needs to be taken into consideration. So it's really very interesting. They are the leaders in their field in terms of threat assessment and this work. So it was really exciting to be able to learn directly from them once again, and to be able to bring that information back, always with the goal of keeping Millbrook safe and secure. Some upcoming events that I want to highlight. I want to thank Mrs. Donahue and Ms. Rubin for collaborating with Millbrook Music Salon to bring a performance to our students on Friday, May 29th. There will be professional musicians who will introduce their instruments, perform, and also engage with students with questions and connecting to the music stand. So we thank the Music Salon for offering this program at no cost. There has been a list of end of year events that have been shared with the Board of Education. We hope that we see you at these events. If you have any questions or need clarification, you can certainly contact the office. And I did want to just speak about some of the advocacy efforts that we have been engaged in. So in terms of the electric vehicle bus mandate, we did receive word that it looks like that is going to be delayed until 2032 start and 2040 for full implementation. So one of the biggest things for Millbrook is that that actually puts the mandate outside of our next contract. So that's helpful for us when we are negotiating our next transportation contract. It will not be with EV buses in mind because we are up in 2027. And so that delay is very helpful for all the reasons that we have mentioned a ton of times over, but this is really a victory for all the districts that participated in letter writing and passing board resolutions and the Public Service Commission work and all of that. So kudos to everyone, and even locally here, Millbrook did participate. And then the Millbrook Central School District was responsible for over 750 letters demanding equity in athletics. So those advocacy letters went to elected officials, the Commissioner of Education, Board of Regents members. So I just want to thank everyone who took the time to let their voices be heard on that matter as well. And with that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Question about the bidding in June, that's very exciting. If you can maybe give a little more detail, like what that's gonna look like and then where we go from there.
Yeah. So the actual bid process, Elliot can walk you through. The bid opening is June 10th at 3 p.m. So those are like the hard facts that people must know. That is the only time it will happen.
Is it just that day and time or is there?
So it's a public bid, right? So we have to open the bids publicly. Any bidders are invited to attend. So we're gonna do it in this room. We're gonna be here at the middle school at 4850 for the bid opening. At that time, we will read the bids publicly, so everybody in the room will hear what their bidding number is. So if, you know, Kobashi Construction bid $2 million and LaBelle Construction bid $2,001, we're gonna all hear about it, okay? Once we read the bids publicly, then our construction managers and engineers, the team, the design team will vet those bids. What they're gonna do is they're gonna look through and make sure nothing got missed. So if bidder A comes in at 2 million and bidder B comes in at 2.2 million, and bidder C comes in at 1.5, they're gonna say, that looks great. Did they get something? Did they miss a wing? You know, sometimes when we're doing this process, we see bids very close together and then there's a random outlier, way high or way low. And you wanna go just make sure that every bid set, that response bid set is complete and accurate. And then our team will go ahead and do background checks and reference checks on those bidders. So, you know, again, if 3 bidders are very close and there's one that's way low, And they just opened up 6 months ago and they have not demonstrated success in these areas. We're gonna be reluctant to recommend that forward. So we go through this entire vetting process and we're gonna do it rather quickly because we want to get this work done. And so part of the bid package is a construction schedule that starts this summer, right? So we're telling the bidders, listen, it's May, you're bidding on a project, we're gonna open those bids second week of June. Be ready, because we're gonna award it hopefully at the second board meeting of June for July construction. So our team is ready to mobilize very quickly, and that's part of why that walkthrough on the 27th is so important. We want really interested bidders to have an opportunity to come see the site, to ask us questions. Any questions that are asked during those walkthroughs, we post that information publicly so that there's no, well, Howard asked, so Howard gets the inside track. We don't do that. We're gonna give everybody that same information, that same answer, right? To create a fair system as possible, as fair a system as possible. That bid opening is gonna be for all of the prime contractors involved. There's gonna be multiple contracts. We're gonna talk about general contract, electrical contract. And each bid spec is gonna have a bid opening that afternoon. Once we have vetted the bidders and the bids, then we're going to be making a recommendation to the Board of Education. So typically what that looks like is the architect and the construction manager, either collectively or separately, will recommend to the district to award the contracts. Then I'll take a look at it, Caroline and I will look at it together. We're gonna say, all right, based on your recommendation, we're gonna give a once over looking for all the things that are important to us that may or may not have been caught out there, just to put another set of eyes on it. Then we're gonna add it to a board agenda, bring it to the Board of Education and say, the architects looked at it, construction managers looked at it, I looked at it, she looked at it, and for all of these foregoing reasons, we're recommending that the board awards this contract to this vendor in this event. And at that point, the board says, go, we award the contracts, and we're off to the races. Part of that, so there's a little nuance in that process where the board will award the bid and then we'll create contract documents that will then be awarded. They may or may not be at the same meeting, depending on how fast we can get through it. So we may just go back and forth with our legal team. We have attorneys at the firm that are specialized in construction contracts. We're gonna make sure that our insurance coverages and everything is baked in the way it needs to be to protect our interests. But once we award the bid, they're gonna start to mobilize. And really for us, like the longest lead time issues are like the windows themselves, right? So when we were putting this package together, we were looking at a 12-week lead time on the actual windows themselves. So that's like one of the first things we want to get ordered and get that in process. So the plan at this point is to begin construction on the linkways, because that is very much shovels in the ground, brick and mortar type of construction. Not so much lead time on anything but the elevator cars themselves. But there's some mechanical equipment, some HVAC equipment just in those expanded linkways, foundational roofs, so that kind of stuff. They're gonna be able to do that rather quick. The first thing you're gonna see is gonna be the safety plan implemented for the construction. So there's gonna be sidewalk bridges put up. There's gonna be areas that are clearly marked. We're gonna look like we're under construction for the first time in a long time, hopefully as early as July. And then we'll be bringing documents to the Board of Education as we move through the process. So does that clarify?
Very much so, thank you. And I really heard construction in July, which is very exciting.
You and me both.
For us,
Very
yeah.
excited. Yeah, this has been we started this process in 2021. So to be able to finally put shovels in the ground and show the community the fruits of these efforts is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And I have one more question, Carolyn, about the bioacoustic, and I'm sorry, I won't repeat what you
Yeah,
said.
the riparian buffer
Well-
bioacoustic research.
You said it so well, I won't even try.
That's because I kept saying, what does that even mean?
That's my question. So with the data, the bioacoustic data they're collecting,
Yes.
I mean, I hear like black box and acoustic, like what sounds are they collecting?
Yeah, so actually, there was mention of birds and amphibious life and stuff, so I think they're actually tracking the sounds of animals based on like the ecological growth in the area. So it is not, specifically asked, it will not be picking up any sounds from children, no video imaging, nothing like that. It is strictly in that one, and the buffer, it speaks to like the greenery, and that is the buffer that they are, so it's deep in the ecosystem there on a tree, collecting the sounds and whatnot from that small.
Thank you, that was my concern.
Yeah, no, well, we asked all those
We gave them a
questions.
list of criteria. Is it
Yeah.
this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this?
Yeah,
That's very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I found it pretty interesting once we got the answers to our questions.
Caroline, very lengthy, interesting report. Is there any reason that it wasn't put on the agenda page?
No, but I can upload it.
Should be.
Yes.
Thank you.
A quick follow-up question on construction. If we're starting in July, what's the anticipation of what the building's gonna look like? Kids to start next year and what will their experience be like throughout the year?
Great
Entire building be open, portions closed.
The entire building will be open.
Okay.
We have committed to, and we've talked to Mr. Cavello about this, and he's okay with it. We're gonna give them 2 rooms at a time.
Okay.
So we're gonna be working second shift throughout the school year. We have a phasing plan where we're gonna show how they move through the building. Again, we're not doing the roof, so we don't have to take entire sections out yet. But from now through next school year, the 27 school year, we're going to give them 2 rooms and they're gonna give them back. So they're gonna mobilize at 3 p.m. They're gonna take a section. So if you look at this room in particular, you see how there's a section of windows and then there's a beam, right? So there's 3 windows, and there's a beam, then there's 3 windows, and then there's a beam. So these are sets. They're gonna take out 1 set at a time. There's gonna be some work around the unit ventilators because the depth of the windows, not necessarily in this wing, this is a bad example, because you can see how the stone comes underneath these windows. That's unique to this level. The lower 2.5 levels have full length, full height window systems. So they take a section out, they insulate, they install the new section. So if they don't finish a room, you may have like new window, old window in a specific classroom, but the goal is to not have more than 2 rooms out of service at any given time throughout the entirety of the school.
And for how long? Or talking like a week or nights?
Whatever it is, it's not gonna be more than 2, so they're gonna hope to get in and get out in a couple days, but they're gonna keep in touch with us every day, so that we'll be able to communicate to Mr. Cabello, which rooms, and I think I'm not speak for you, but I think your scheduling plan is including this room's gonna go here, this room, so that you guys know how to move bodies as we go.
And the linkway is fully connected again, with or without elevators.
The lakeway should be open for September, that's the plan. And if there's a variation of that, we'll know, but again, we're adding sidewalk bridging to the sidewalk along the parking lot to provide code compliant covered walkways for the students to traverse between levels.
Okay.
And because there's no stairs, it is naturally somewhat ADA compliant in the event that somebody's on wheels or has mobility challenges, because there was no impediment that way.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing I did just wanna comment on before we move on is I had a parent reach out today. Just asking for clarification, but also expressing their discontent with the way in which something was expressed within our budget presentations, explaining that part of the budget constraints or one of the budget drivers this year was special education, and how that was a very frustrating and upsetting concept to hear as a parent with a child in a special education program. And so we did have a good conversation about how that is a reality, right? The programs that are servicing some of our students, especially because we are small and we are not able to always provide some of the more restricted programs that some of our students need. And so the cost of external programs is rising at a rate that is very challenging to keep pace with, and also transportation costs to transport our students to those programs. So I did want to be very clear. There is no conversation about our students being cost drivers. It is the programs and services that some of our students require, and we are very sensitive to that. And so I do appreciate this parents' plight and their acceptance. So I did just want to acknowledge publicly that if anything has been stated in a way that was upsetting to anyone, that's certainly not our intention. But the reality is that the cost of providing services that our students desperately need is certainly outpacing our ability to bring in revenue at the same rate. So we just want to be fair and being honest.
Thank you, Carolyn. Elliot, do we have any comments? Oh,
You have not.
would you like to say something? Hey, you're up.
You are public, so this would be the
Are public.
opportunity.
I do have 2 questions. I wasn't really prepared, but, one thing for tonight, with the riparian, acoustic researcher, are we concerned at all that they're going to swoop in and say, look, there's box turtles in the back here, you can't build? You know, I don't wanna see the project get torpedoed by that.
Right, so anytime we do any project on public school land, we do have to actually do research to make sure that we won't change any of the landscape around us. So that is already looked into. That is not one of the goals. Their goal is to see how it's actually supporting life, like the wildlife. But we're also not changing specifically down there, we're not changing the exterior of the building in a way that would move any closer to the water.
I just didn't want them to say, hey, look, we did research, we know there's box turtles, we know they're endangered, and I'm, trust me, I'm a big fan of the department, but like,
Yeah,
I just don't want them to come in, swoop in and like drive up project
yeah,
costs. or
no,
something.
understood.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Richco.
Okay, I should ask that first.
No, it's fine, sorry, I wasn't prepared.
That's okay.
And then the only other question I had, was, I just went down, I voted yes, put that on the record. I'm hoping it passes. I was surprised to see a strong statement put out that, pre-K is a priority, and I don't think it explicitly said it's not going away, but are we still up in the air on pre-K?
No, we're not, and we haven't been, and so one of the very confusing things about the budget process is that it happens, in phases, and as information changes, right? And so there is a danger to tuning into one moment in time, and hearing bits of information and generalizing that to the entire budget process. So what happens is, we roll over the budget, right? We look at how much it is going to cost us to do business, and then we look at our revenues, right? And so when we're looking at that, we're looking, does it come out to, we are not a profit-driven organization. We do not make money doing what we do. And so if it does not, and there is a deficit where it's going to cost us more than we can actually generate in revenue through aid and, taxes, et cetera, we have to look at areas in which we may need to make cuts. And so there was very transparently a list that was displayed of non-mandated programs, pre-K being one of them. And so being very transparent with the community, there's only so many ways we can make up $1 million deficit. Here are non-mandated programs that could potentially have been, would we have needed to, right? And or these staff reductions. And so it remains the same. The budget that was put out includes pre-K. And so that is what is being voted on, the authorization to spend that much money. And the authorization to raise taxes by that much is what the public has, the opportunity to vote on tonight.
Okay, so I was at, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 3. And at that point, there was alarm. There was a lot of alarm. It was, you know, the president saying, if we go to,
So I can explain a little bit. If the vote does not pass, and this is public information, if the vote does not pass, the Board of Education has the opportunity to do one of 2 things. They can put another budget up for vote. It could be the same exact budget. It could be something slightly altered. That goes out for a second vote, or they can immediately go to what's called the contingency budget.
yes,
If we go to a contingency budget, we can only spend the most recent previously authorized amount, right? So that is what we spent this school year and what the voters authorized for this. And so if that is the case, and we are in a contingency budget, we have to cut an additional $1.5 million. There's certain, non-ordinary contingent expenses that come right off the top. And after that, it's an additional $1.5 million. And so being very fair and transparent, any non-mandated program and additional staff, if we need to find $1.5 million, that is going to be a reality.
okay, so I apologize if I'm confused. If we go to contingency, pre-K is on the chopping block again?
I would say if we go to contingency, any non-mandated program and additional staff nothing is off the table.
Understood.
Yes.
That's what I expected. That's why I was surprised by that. Nobody wants pre-K more than me, right? I am one of those parents with a special ed student. I've got a, you know, he's been in since he's 3 years old. Next year should be his pre-K. That's why I'm sitting here. So I was surprised by that. Just because it felt like it would be there. I know it's everybody's priority to do it, like, don't get me wrong. But, I was surprised by the statement that was put out there.
It is a priority to keep it. Unfortunately, it's going to be competing priorities, right? And that's the unfortunate case, so.
So,
Thank you. All right, moving on to new business, financials and warrants. Do I have a motion? I have a second?
Awesome.
All in favor?
Alright.
Yes. Okay, accept the letter of resignation for Mr. Sight. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion? Do
So,
I have a second? Second. All in favor?
I,
Any against? Comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything deeper? I'm just saying, we do appreciate all the years of service and all you've done for the children and the students. Do you have the monthly reports as far as enrollment and the future agenda items? We're now going to go to executive session. Board of Education hereby recesses into the executive session for discussions pertaining to the employee history of particular employees. The board may return to open meeting to take action related to matters discussed in this executive session. Motion. Second. Second. All in favor?
Fine. Good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
That voice back.
I
Feel better.
I wish I could even make it make sense. You feel that bad? It's just been a whole week now.
Was it the things? Was that what?
That next time you take for a week, but thank you all for getting me back through. That is very appreciated.
Yeah. Like reiterate. I'm having a conversation with someone, but change the channel, oh, there's the sound bite.
are we getting a few minute break or just?